Om Shanti. Welcome to Masters of Change. We have a very special guest with us, Maria from Greece. Maria has been an Olympian rhythmic gymnast, and she has been extremely active with youth activities around Athens. She is now devoted in the BK Center at Athens and is giving her services as a spiritual teacher, organizing youth activities and global forums there. We will now hear from Maria. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for the invitation, all the team, and especially thank you, Priya, for your warm smile and welcoming.
I've read a little bit about you. I've spoken to you, but I have so many questions. And I strongly believe that stories is one way to live and learn from another person's life. So I would love to understand, how has your journey been? From being a gymnast to now being a spiritual teacher, which is like poles apart. How has the journey been for you, Maria?
Well, it's been really interesting to me as well and surprising, but I always believed in coincidences. I didn't believe in God or some higher energy or, someone that can solve my problems with my efforts as well. So I did believe in coincidences, and I was quite playful from a very young age. So I have a wonderful family and quite a few cousins who were boys. So we were playing a lot with sports, and in general it was like a small community. So I had a really good experiences with connecting with people from a young age. And then I went on choosing this particular sport, and I feel that we are anyway, body and soul are interconnected. So in a way, sports kept me quite protected from bad company, for example. I always aim to keep a good balance with the subjects at school and with the social life. But I was lucky enough to remember choosing the activity of sports and of that particular sport quite conscientiously. And that was really important. I believe in life it's very important to choose with clarity. And then there is no margin for doubt or perhaps a mind that's indecisive later on, regretting, fluctuating, and things can become more and more clear when we set up a goal. And of course, we need to adjust in various ways. And also, in certain situations, I believe that perhaps one goal was a stepping stone, and it was not the ultimate goal. So that helps a lot. Otherwise, my observation is that we become impatient. And I've been impatient in my life a lot because everything in the physical level has an end. I had to quit gymnastics at a young age.
Okay.
And because that's a fact that you cannot do gymnastics forever.
Right.
And then I had to be open to work with field in my studies. And I think that each choice takes us to another choice. And success is not what we achieve always on a level of being praised or accepted or perhaps even interviewed sometimes.
Yeah.
Success is something that's linked with contentment of the soul. So I had the opportunity to realize that there was something else, and I was seeking for the true meaning of life. And that came through concentration, and I always had a deep love for silence. I remember that silence was very beneficial for everything I've tried in my life, be it sports or studies, or even, just daily, very practical choices.
Right. Wonderful. So, Maria, in your search for clarity and concentration, you somewhere found meditation. So how do you link it now? We really cannot connect the dots going forward. It's always when we look at how things have happened, how our experiences have been, that we're able to connect those dots.
True.
So now when you sit here and you think about how this life has been, how are you able to connect those dots between clarity, concentration, and meditation?
It started from realizing who I am, and I am a spiritual being. I'm a soul. I was given this invaluable information, and then I had to work with that. Of course, some experiences we have, even if I taste a very good ice cream, I will be driven into another, perhaps, world of the senses. And later I will have to process what was that. For example, I may reflect on the ingredients. In the same way, I had very powerful experiences of the self as a soul, and the feeling of freedom that soul consciousness as we experience it. And of course, it's something very personal that you cannot always utter or phrase. But there was also, after a point of my first experiences and after of trying changing my diet to a vegetarian diet, that I really also had a very deep experience of the Supreme as a source of whatever I ever wished for: peace, power, love, acceptance. And then I was explained that I can access this power, and I can feel myself with energy. And I didn't have to wait for the next meditation, but I could be experiencing this in action. So that was brilliant news for me. And this in time brought clarity. I cannot say that it happened overnight, but it was, with practice, everything becomes more and more excel.
So you've told us that it took time and all experiences have to be felt. I mean, you were able to feel that consciousness of your soul. And that is how you led to all of these changes in life. But Maria, I truly understand that change is very difficult to accept. For a person to be able to access these values, access these powers of, say, peace, joy, and love, there are a lot of changes that have to come in. They are both internal as well as physical. So how were you dealing with those changes at that time? I mean, at the first instance, were you completely ready to take on those changes, or did it take some time for you? How was the journey of exactly making those changes?
I can say it was quick.
Okay.
There was a level of uncertainty, but it was quite quick, because when we create space for something, we can fill it up with something better when we know that the best is there waiting for us. It's like, for example, summertime comes and we change our wardrobe. It's like this call we have for something. We don't have the full picture, but we can sense that it is time for me to move to that direction. It is time for me, for example, this time in India, I felt that it is time to let go of the traces of shyness, because some of us may look very confident, but there is always some area that we are not very comfortable. And now I'm remembering a friend who is an Olympian many times in windsurfing. Okay. And she was telling me that, I don't have courage. And I had to remind her that you don't have courage, because I remember you telling me stories. You were, on your windsurf and there are quite a few sharks around you. And, I couldn't do that. So I'm definitely, I'm sure that you do have courage. I've seen this in one of your stories. I see this in your eyes. So we just need to give a little bit more time to see ourselves better in the way others see us, or in the way the Supreme sees us. Because in His eyes, my understanding is that we all have a certain potential, and it wouldn't be fair to be deprived from this or the other virtue. We Indeed. Just need to discover them and balance it. So it's like a treasure hunt to me. It takes time and patience, but also everything is very well organized for us, for our progress. And sometimes it can even be painful, or I have asked myself, why on earth this or that? But I know that wisdom is one element that's there for everyone. And I know that the moments that I'm asking questions, that they're not deep questions or reflective questions, I know that I'm becoming extroverted. And I just need to remember that the universe or the script of the life is much more wiser than me, and requires just my cooperation.
That's indeed a wonderful example of being so open to change. And you make a very valid point when you say that you need to make space for better things. Because, a lot of times I feel that we hear something nice, we read something, and we want to implement it. We also kind of get those habits in our life, but we don't create that extra space and fill it up with better practices. And I think that is where we lag, and we're not able to completely blend that change into our life. How beautifully you've put it for us, Maria. Personally, I've learned so much. Going forward, now you've made these changes in life. You're already beginning to see some benefits, some positive influences in your own life. What about the people around you? How did they feel? And how did they perceive you?
They tell me that they feel at peace when they are around me. There is some openness, and they say that I'm willing to offer solutions without many thoughts. There are some who knew me from before, or who know me closer, and they are not always happy with my change, because I understand they don't always feel secure in the way I'm changing when they are not practicing meditation, for example. But in the long run, they always come to me when something happens, for example, in their lives. They don't feel this is a paradox. They will come to me. I have experienced from others who are in this spiritual path for many more years than me. I can relate to that because I was very inspired by the trust I was given. I felt I was trusted, and the virtue of trust is really so transformative. It makes you stand on your own feet. It makes you wanting to pass this to others, and it makes you feel strong enough to be available. If I don't know something, if I'm asked something, I wait, and I tell them, wait, I will ask, I don't have this response for you. But also I see that other times without asking, it comes in meditation or from one or the other incident in life, I get a touching, and I'm then quite sure I can give the the right information or suggestion. And this is beautiful, I think, because when I wait for myself, I also see and am assured that I practice what I say.
Yeah.
I really want to walk the talk. And in the past, I used to be a people's pleaser. But I could see later in time that first I could not please everyone, and second, in the meantime, my own truth was convoluted or compromised. And so in this way, first of all, in the same way I want to work from inwards outwards. I want to be truthful to myself, my ideal, and first honest with my relationship to what I feel God as a mentor would advise me. So it takes time, and any time in the past, I make sure that I won't squeeze things in my program, because we live at a time when many changes happen suddenly anyway. Mm-hmm. So I cannot program fully something. I cannot expect things to happen in the order or way I would wish or I had planned.
Right.
So I make sure to give some extra, at least few slots in between the day that I will be available for myself or for someone else, and I won't get stressed or I won't be anxious and transmit this anxiety to others. In the past, one meeting after the other, I observed it would work out. But now, especially, or at least in the place I live, it's not working out. Okay. So I had to use the power to adjust. And the power of adjustment is very closely linked to clarity. So then it's one supports the other. They go hand in hand.
How beautiful. So from people around you, trying to understand this new Maria, and now you've become like a medium for solutions, which is great, great. So Maria, when you say that the value of trust has sort of, been the anchor for you, and the power of adjustment, now that, you're trying to take on even bigger, better changes, or to walk the journey in a more deeper way, going from inside to outside. It takes a lot of hard work. At the outside, it's much more simpler because it's all physical change. But when you have to work on the inside, one, it is rare because there are very few people on the planet who would be willing to take the kind of effort it takes. Also, it can sort of sometimes get fatiguing. Because, you're trying to change a certain habit. You're putting in all your effort. You're creating space for that habit to really come into your life. You're also taking help from the Almighty, getting power from Him to actually bring it completely in your life and live that ways. But have you personally ever felt fatigued in the sense of trying to get something new? Have you ever felt that, okay, I'm good now. I'm okay. I'm much better than what I think I was many years ago. I'm good to go. Have you felt like that?
Well, I think that sports helped me in, not delaying to set a new aim, but also in this study, I know that if I go slack, then there is no return. And or it's difficult to make up the time I will have wasted with carelessness, laziness, or giving excuses. It may become, and it was fatigue to certain points, because there have been many big changes happening. And yet still I knew that bit by bit, with spiritual strength, because the solution is always to take one step inside. I knew I was quite faithful that there will be a way out, and we know that things come, things go, people come, people go, and there is a vast plan of the universe to change. So I also have slogans help a lot. I also always remind myself, and it can be like a statement, or you can make up your own formula or practice. Yeah. I always remember that whatever I do it for myself. Because it can be also deceptive to try and help someone and become savior and give him more burden or worries. And you are out of your comfort zone, but you are not in your center. Yeah. So it's just extra noise and effort, and that also a fatigue element in itself. So one is to trust that there is a wider plan that will definitely work out in one way or the other. And another also reminder to me is not to over-try do things. Sometimes if we may cause damage from lack of interest, but myself, I've discovered that I was in a way intruding a situation, and we are all intelligent, but maybe it's not the good timing to even offer solutions. We have to wait and see, and also trust the power of silence. And sometimes I think when I enter the fatigue zone, it's because I've left my mind alone without giving it some food.
Good food.
Or good food, or some good playful, toy. And we know that the mind is like a small child.
Indeed.
And from time to time I create a practice, and then I leave it and I take another practice, whatever I'm inspired with to do. I'm using also the mind with the body. For example, I can use the breathe. Okay. And when I calm down and I breathe in and out, I may remember that now with every time I'm breathing in, I remember and receive power from the Supreme. And every time I breathe out, I either exhale my negativity or worries, or I exhale power. I receive the power and I exhale power and boost my my body, the organs of the body, and even my aura. So that helps a lot, because it helps the mind calm down, and it also helps the body to calm down. And the good checking point for me is the body. Some people have headache, some stomach ache. I check myself, for example, if my shoulders are relaxed. Because if the body is not relaxed, the mind is not, and vice versa. So these are good checkpoints to see. And I shared with you, Priya, about shyness. And I really realized this time that shyness was a big block or delay.
Okay.
And the more we know time is now priceless and is or less, the more we need to be economical with time. It means life and also thoughts. These are the two biggest treasures we have in life. We can see them as gift from God, as gift from the universe, as gift from humanity. Time and thoughts are the most precious treasures we have.
Indeed. Very beautiful technique.
Thank you.
Finally, because you've taken up this journey for your own good. So, reminding yourself that I'm doing this for myself is such an important reminder.
Yes, because I have experienced that if I'm not happy enough or concentrated enough or willing enough, God cannot help me.
Yeah.
He's there and I've put a curtain
Right.
in between.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you.
I would really thank our viewers for being with us, for listening to us, and we hope that you've imbibed something from this episode. Maria has shared beautiful insights from her life, wonderful and creative techniques, making space and filling it up with better practices, trying to keep your path creative, full of trust, and trying to imbibe powers from the Almighty. Because unless and until we have powers from the Almighty, we will not really be able to get to our 100% potential. Thank you so much.